welcome back to the Tomahawk. It's Mike and Matt with you. We're going to get right into it. We are going to talk about the Hawks' last two games versus Detroit. And I want to bring up Mike Babcock's debut on NBC Sports. NBC Sports is actually looking to cancel that cable service, and they're not sure what they're going to do with sports. And we'll get right into it, man. So Hawks on Friday played Detroit. Nobody knew what was going to happen, and they ended up winning. What was it, 5-1? Yep. And some of the big takeaways in it were Lankinen played very well again, and it seemed like the team played better as a whole, from the top line down to the fourth line. The power play continued scoring. PK wasn't giving up goals on every single kill that we had to do, and it seemed like a pretty good team effort overall. Did Carl Soderberg play today, right? He didn't play the other day.
Yeah, today I think was his first game, and I really didn't see him out there that much. I think they're trying to kind of ease him into getting more minutes because they're obviously not going to play him, like a crazy 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what he played, but I didn't really see him that much.
I could imagine his fitness not being up to
no
up to par
preseason,
yet.
no training.
That's got to be rough, man.
It's tough.
And it seemed like what's his name, man? Our center, one of the only centers we have.
Suter?
No, Strome. He seemed to play better the past couple games. He didn't seem to be as much of a liability as he normally is, and he seems to be getting some points. What do you think?
I think today's game, game 6, I noticed him making some good passes, but for some reason he just, to me, looks like he's just slowly kind of coasting and just, he's not really making like flashy plays or anything. But that's what I noticed. He just doesn't stand out to me as much as, we thought he would be when we traded for him. And the money that they gave him this summer.
Yeah, I think his passing hasn't been too bad.
Yeah, he doesn't have that like great a speed either. He doesn't it just seems like he's like slow
motion. Average dude,
yeah. Yeah, that's what I got out of him today.
Okay, I'll tell you what, man. I think Kane really has turned into a more complete player over the course of the past, obviously, 5 years. I think he's learned a lot. We mentioned this before, but watching him play in the defensive end, playing in the offensive end, going into the defensive end, back checking, and then creating an opportunity that ultimately led to a goal today, I thought has really shown how much of a complete hockey player he's turned into, even though that he isn't typically regarded as much.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I noticed that the first game when I think there was like a couple odd man rushes that Tampa was I think it was like Bovequist by himself, and you just see Kane in the background with his head down, just blazing speed to get back to grab that open man. I noticed that too. He's been turning into like a Hossa in his own, not as big, but he's working hard and it's rubbing off on these guys.
Yeah.
These new kids.
I agree. I think Suter is definitely going to be taking notice since he's centering that line, and rightfully so. I think that with his speed, Suter has pretty decent speed. He seems pretty creative, and I think that he's trying to figure out what what kind of player that he wants to be. Because, you always, growing up and playing, you know the type of player that you are, but when you play with somebody like Patrick Kane, obviously some changes need to be made because you're like, this guy's on another level, and he has a lot to learn from him too.
Well, today, the first thing I did after he scored that second goal was pop up my Yahoo Fantasy, and I dropped Jeff Skinner because he's been terrible, and I claimed Suter. Then he gets the hat trick, and I'm like, all right, looks like I made a good move.
That's funny.
He looked awesome today, just skating. That third goal was a great shot.
Yeah.
he was just making plays, getting open.
Yeah.
I think his second goal was that power play goal, I want to say.
Right in the middle. Yeah. Right in front of the crease.
Yeah, where he kind of took a bump. Then he found the open ice, and it was just a tap in for him.
Right.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was awesome today.
I thought he played well. Boquist seemed to be keeping himself out of danger. It seems like.
Yeah.
And Keith was solid. Ian Mitchell I thought was playing well. I didn't see him making really too many mistakes. And
nope. Dahan looked steady.
Yeah, he
steady
did
today as well.
He did, and I noticed he has some pretty good skating and puck handling abilities. I was watching him in the last game, and he seemed to get himself into a corner, and he kind of skated himself and stick handled his way out of it. And I think maybe as he gets settled in with the team, maybe he's not as settled in because he didn't play all of last season. So this is essentially really his first season back with the Hawks because he didn't come back until the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, against Edmonton and Vegas. Yeah, he did play.
Yeah,
and which was surprising. They said they were really happy to have him.
Yeah, I mean he seems like a pretty solid player.
Well, here's where we're not giving any love to Connor freaking Murphy.
I thought he's been playing well.
He's been good, but we're not. Me especially. I haven't really been praising him, but I think game 5 didn't they just an awful pass right to Connor Murphy, and he just buried it.
Yeah, he did. He had a nice wrister, and it was really
top
awesome.
Of the circles. Yeah,
yeah, because
I was like, dang man. And he's playing steady as well.
Yeah. Goalie was screened, and he just right up the left side. But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, man, it seemed like it was going to be a long season, the first game of the season, and then obviously watching them play against Detroit, even Florida, I saw some improvements. In the team. I mean, they almost won one game. They took it to overtime.
Yep.
I don't want to put it on as a goalie thing because I'm not saying that because Lankinen specifically has been put in net why they are doing better. I think that maybe they're gelling better as a team and they're playing better, and that play is transferring into less chances in their own zone because I believe the past 2 games they had more shots on goal than their opponent. I think today it was like 32 to something.
20s, yeah.
Yeah.
With the goalie thing, Lankinen, I think when your goalie makes the saves he's supposed to save, meaning not giving up softies, you give your team a chance. And he's played 3 games. He's 2-0-1, I want to say.
Right. Yeah. With a 922 goals against average. And
I didn't see him give up a questionable goal. I mean, the goals that they scored were just, some of the shots you're not going to save, and sometimes they go in. But, I think Delia, didn't he play a puck right to a guy?
Yeah.
I think Subban was kind of getting lost in his crease a couple times.
Yeah, he did.
This kid is taking his chance and he's running with it, and he wants the job. You could clearly, he's the more hungry out of the 3 of them, and I think he's earning it. I would keep putting him in until he loses. Honestly, this is the best thing for competition. Is the best thing for goalies.
And
if you got,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
And he's, we're having more pauses between games. They played Friday. He had a day off. They played tonight.
Yep.
And then we're off, and then they're going to play Nashville. I think the competition is really between Delia and Subban on who's going to back up as of right now.
Hopefully we don't have to worry about it. If this kid keeps playing good, he just leave him in.
Yeah.
It's a short season, and we're rebuilding. There's really not a lot of expectations with the team. I'd say throw him in there and see what he can do with a good amount of games.
Right.
That's what I want to see, at least as a fan. I want to see if this is our future guy. I want to see what he can do.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think, I hate to say this, man, but, Delia might be an AHL guy,
He started 2 games, correct?
Yeah, he did, but he played a little bit last year, and he played a little bit the year before. And
Yeah.
I think that he has the ability to play, but he might be psyching himself out getting into games.
Yeah, as well as Subban. I mean, I think I'm sorry, not PK. Malcolm played great game one.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, he didn't play great, but he kept the score
R-
from being
10
ridiculous.
to 1.
Yeah, exactly. But don't forget, I think he was drafted by
Boston.
Boston. So he's been a boss. He's played a backup some games in Boston, I want to say, again,
Yeah.
behind Rask.
Yeah.
He went to Vegas, and I mean, he's kind of jumping around, and kind of makes you worried. Like, I mean, okay, Vegas and Boston are two really good teams that they compete every year or they're contenders, you know.
Yeah.
And if they don't want him, I mean, it's just a question mark in my opinion. It's like, well, these guys don't want him, you know, and maybe something they see something we don't. But I know with the Leonard trade, we had to get somebody back, and they're not going to give us Marc-Andre Fleury, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think he was just part of that trade. I don't really see I don't see Bowman thinking that Subban is going to be the guy to bring us back. I think that he was kind of pulling for Delia, but this kid has been so far he's been a surprise to me. I mean, I really didn't know too much about him, but
He seems
watching
confident.
watching him play that first game against Florida, he kind of plays deeper in the crease,
Yeah.
and he's fast.
Yeah, he is.
His shuffling left to right, and he made some. The second game in Florida, the overtime, I want to say it was a 3-on-1.
Yeah.
Or a 2-on-1, and he went across post to post, and he stopped that shot. I'm like, oh, this guy's going to give us a chance to win this game.
Right.
But sure enough, he's faster. He's competing. He's not making stupid plays, and he's just making the saves he's supposed to make. And then he's making the saves he shouldn't sometimes, and that gives your chance a team to win.
Yeah, it inspires your team too.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, man, maybe I should be putting out more. Look at this guy, he's standing on his head, you know?
And the coaching staff sees it, and I mean, he's probably going to start next game. I'm assuming he's earning it.
Yeah.
I mean, two wins in a row is huge. We need them. We need the points. I mean, we could be 3-2, and we could be 3-2 realistically.
Yeah.
Just because that Florida game, he was great.
Yeah, he was.
We just, it was just a lucky overtime bounce, and you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So the offense, I think, is obviously starting to come together. I like seeing these guys find their place. It looks like Shaw is really starting to find himself, and Suter. I was really curious on where Suter was going to fit in because I haven't seen him play too much, but he seems to be playing pretty well. Hagel he's still hustling, playing pretty hard. I think that the jury isn't out yet on Walmark and Janmark, but I'd like to see more from those guys. And Carpenter missed an open net today that he beat himself up over.
And he took a stupid penalty the first minute of the game. You don't ever want to do that.
Put your team down.
Thank God they killed it. Yeah. The other kid I want to talk about is that Svech, or how do you say it?
I was going to say Kucherov.
No. 23.
Yeah.
He's a surprise too.
He is.
Yeah, he scored a goal today, but
I have a hard time with his name too.
Svechnev or something. He was working so hard, and he wins puck battles a lot with his speed.
He does.
And he had about 3 of them in that third period where he was just using his speed, stealing it from the defenseman.
Right.
And then that finally he scored. He just kind of cut it in from the goal line and buried it. I'm like, man, this kid earned it.
He did.
This kid earned that goal today, and I'm glad he got one. Kurashev.
Philippe Kurashev.
Yeah. I mean, he was just hustling and just winning puck battles, board battles, and I'm so glad he scored because I wrote it down. I'm like, man, this kid is just working his ass off right now.
Yeah,
and it's good to see him get rewarded.
Yeah, he's from
I mean, we don't even know his last name. That's how.
No, I mean, I mentioned it before. I wanted to say
he scored a couple games ago.
Yeah, he did. I wanted to say
Florida,
I wanted to say Kucherov because that's kind of how I remember it a little bit. Yeah, Philippe Kurashev. He's from Davos, Switzerland.
Yeah, we had 2 Swiss players today, right?
Yeah.
Suter getting all our goals.
Yeah.
Suter and Kurashev.
Apparently, Suter played for.
We got to get him
Crawford.
some respect. We got to learn the last name.
Yeah, no kidding. That's why I felt bad. I couldn't remember my man's last name.
Oh, I remember. I wrote 23.
Okay.
That's like even when I'm out coaching, we're like, hey, what's up with number 5? You know, because sometimes we just we don't know what the kids are.
Yeah.
With being this COVID season, we don't even play games.
It's kind of hard too, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty noticeable that Taves wasn't at the arena for the opening.
Yes, you noticed that too.
I did.
Yeah.
They said
I heard him say Jonathan Taves.
And then boom,
you're waiting for a guy to come out with a suit and tie or something.
Yeah, and then they went boom right to the next guy.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not something really serious, but it's kind of concerning.
It is.
Seabrook was there, I want to say. I think I saw him.
Yeah, Nylander was there too.
Yeah. Oh, with the crutches. Yeah. And Kirby with the cast.
Yeah,
Kirby
man.
Doc. Yeah.
You know what? I hope they just let him take his time and heal, because
no point.
He's so young, and he's already really good, man. You know, he's showing those leadership qualities already. You know, last year he just seemed like a kid who just shut his mouth and played. He didn't say anything. You know, he didn't. He played hard, played his body, and just played hockey. But I want to get into Babcock being on NBC Sports.
Yeah,
I think he's horrible. You know, they need to get a guy who could speak English halfway decent. Did you hear the way he says offense? He says offense.
He's so Canadian. Yeah, he. I mean, I liked him as a coach until I heard all this stuff, like especially from Chris Chelios. He had some stories about him when he was with the Red Wings, especially the Winter Classic 2009 at Wrigley. He said he wasn't going to dress Chelios for his last defensive pair. And it's like, come on. The dude's from Chicago. Yeah. He's a Cub fan or whatever. Who knows what he is? But Chelios was so bummed about it, and he ended up playing.
Yeah.
Then I think he benched him for like majority of the game.
Yeah, he did.
And Chelios was talking. He was getting beers from his sons, just handed him on the bench. And I want to say Detroit they started running away with that game.
Yeah.
And Babcock goes, "All right, Chelly, you want to get in?" And I guess Chelios just was like, "Yeah, screw off," and he was just drinking beer on the bench. Yeah. This is a true story from Chelios. So that's what makes it funny.
That's awesome.
But the whole Mitch Marner thing, I didn't know about that honestly until I listened today. And I mean, from what it sounded like, he was trying to. I don't know what you got out of it, but it sounded like he was trying to. Maybe kind of get into the middle of him and the team, make Marner look like a rat type of thing. I mean, I didn't really get much out of it. He was kind of evaluate like if I'm evaluating you.
Are you referring to
privately?
He asked Marner who his which guys on the team who don't give as much effort. He gave the list and then he outed Marner on it.
Yeah, it's like what's the point of that? I didn't understand. Like, I mean, it is kind of stupid.
It's retarded.
It's like me evaluating you and like giving it to another guy in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you asking me that stuff for? You know, it's like that's your job to evaluate the players.
Yeah, not the players' job. Yeah, because that creates condensation. You know, condemnation amongst players.
I think he lost that team.
Oh yeah,
he lost that team way before that. I mean, they're just I get the vibe he kind of puts like he wants to be the center of attention. He's like, I'm the coach and blah blah blah. It's like, nah, dude. Austin Matthews, they're there to see Matthews.
They're not there to see about.
They're not going. Honestly, like I love Coach Q, but I don't watch the Hawks games to see what Q's gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to see Kane dangle, and but I think he had a pretty big ego, and they got sick of it.
Yeah. It's like everywhere he goes, you just hear bad things about him,
Yeah, well, he didn't really do much. I mean, he won a Stanley Cup with Detroit.
Yeah.
Did
But
you see the roster on that
yeah,
team?
but
I mean,
they had a sick roster though.
I mean, all you have to do is freaking open the door
Just
and
play him.
give
Just
them a
play guys.
list. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, it's not like I give a lot of credit to that Blues coach, Berube.
Yeah.
He he was an intern guy. Like he was just in there to take over, and they were dead last, and
Yeah.
he like lit a fire under all of them and it's changed their style, and they won the Stanley Cup. That's a coach to me,
Yeah.
like that. And I love Torts. I mean,
Yeah.
even with that low budget team,
Yeah.
they beat Tampa. I mean, they look good.
Yeah.
And
Who was Ryan O'Reilly? Do you remember when he came into the league with Colorado?
yes,
When he came into the league with Colorado, I had him on my fantasy hockey team, and he was great. He was a huge unknown at the time, but he was great. But
yeah,
he started holding out for money, and I was like, this guy is good, but he's not that good. And he's developed into this really good all around player.
like a Selke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's dangerous offensively, and he's solid defensively. I think that he
yeah.
was probably the catalyst that fixed that team.
Well, yeah. Then they let him, or what? Did he get an offer sheet? I want is to Buffalo, right?
Oh well,
He went.
he came from Buffalo to the Blues.
Yeah, but he wasn't signing with Colorado, and I think Buffalo gave him an offer sheet,
Yeah,
and I think, and he, that was the biggest mistake of. I mean, I would rather play in Colorado than Buffalo,
yeah. I
but he
think they
went
were
over
giving
there.
more
They
money.
had some decent. Yeah, he got paid. But when he went to the Blues, I was like, "Oh man, they're getting a good player." And obviously, I mean, they won. Now he's their captain.
Yeah, he's their captain now.
They see he's a good two-way player,
Yeah,
and
he
I
is.
mean, yeah,
So, I read yesterday that NBC Sports they are canceling their channel. They're shutting it down, and they're looking to expand their offerings to USA, and they don't know what they're going to do with all of their NHL games and everything. I wonder how this is going to play out and why is this happening now? What do you think?
it's probably it has to do with I mean, there's no fans in the stands. They're not making the money,
Yeah.
you know, and I mean, they have to put ads on their helmets.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has something to do with the COVID
The
pandemic,
COVID
and
business.
I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
And NBC's got the money,
Yeah, they do.
so maybe they want. Well, they're not going to get views in other sports either. So I would just hold out, and wait and see.
Did you see those
But
floating ads on Friday at the start of the game, the start of the Hawks game?
yeah, that
That
is
was
so
horrible.
stupid.
I was looking up
Yeah.
like who do I have to contact about this because this is ruining the
Well,
game.
last year, remember they were putting it behind the glass,
Yeah.
behind the goalies. Hey, but maybe they just can't get something done with the NHL, and maybe the NHL is actually looking for a new home. That's just my opinion as of now. We don't really know too much about it. What about you?
Going back to ESPN too.
That'd be awesome, and we can get Gary Thorne and Bill Clement back in there, and I will be the happiest guy.
That's funny. So,
Yeah.
who would you say were your players of the game? Give me Hawks and Detroit for the weekend.
For Detroit, kind of painful for me to say as because of his last name. I hate the guy so much, but I think it's his nephew, Bertuzzi,
Mm,
looked good, man. He was hitting, he was skating hard, and he was putting a puck in the net. And I think he's going to be a good player for those guys for the next couple of years.
yeah, he plays hard.
Uh, as for the Hawks, I think obviously Suter had a huge game today. Kaner's been good. Lankinen's been good, and it's 2-0 they get against them. I didn't really notice any bad things about the Hawks.
Yeah.
I think they're still giving up some power play goals, but if you look at the league, everybody's scoring on the power play. That's just they have to get disciplined. And I heard this on Friday on NHL radio. Like the average for team scoring the goals, it's like at 5 to 6 a
Wow.
game. So, and I know a lot of teams are scoring on the power play, which is great.
Yeah.
Even the Hawks, they've got a power play goal in every game this year. I
Right.
saw the stat at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's the first time since '91. And I don't know. I was, 5 years old, 6 years old when they made it to the final.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. I had
Well, who are your top picks?
I hate to say Kaner because, it's kind of the easy one to go to.
Yeah.
He was definitely one of the most noticeable. Just his back and forth play. I don't want to understate that. I just thought that he played really well. I thought Pius Suter looked really great. And I'll probably leave it at those two guys. Bertuzzi has this. Maybe he's like a millennial goon in a way, like he wants to be a goon, but he can't be.
Yeah, I last podcast we did, I told you this guy from Boston was talking about their top line.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I know you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I could see Larkin being the Bergeron. I could see Mantha being the Pasternak, and I could see Bertuzzi being the pest Marchand that could still score and, do what he does to agitate, like an agitator.
Would you think that Marchand has moved on from the pest role and he is a skilled hockey player now?
Yes, I think he even said, he goes, I did what I had to do to get into the NHL, and I'm playing with two amazing players right now. I want to leave it at that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I really respect that. It's really,
me too.
It's really hard to get into the league, but for Detroit, I got Larkin. I think that it was really hard to miss the guy. He was very noticeable every single time he was on the ice. He was pressing every single time that he was on the ice. To be honest with you, he might have been the most noticeable guy on both teams, both on during the weekend. He was just, the guy seemed like he was everywhere. He was always hunting for the puck in the defensive zone and pushing the puck into the offensive zone. And I thought he looked great.
He did look good. As well as, I think Greiss played okay that game one. I thought he was going to be a better goalie. I was kind of disappointed in that.
Mm-hmm.
As well as Bobby Ryan. They've been hyping him because he scored a couple of goals.
Yeah.
I know he's gone through some hard times.
Yeah.
But, he's not the same player he was on the Ducks a long time ago. But he was a ghost. I didn't see him as much. I think Detroit's defense is questionable too. I think they only have, one solid guy in Mark Stahl. He's got the experience, but I thought they were going to be better.
Yeah.
But the Hawks made them look like, a last place team. So, and I got to give you credit because you said they were going to sweep, and I said a split, maybe a sweep, and I was wrong. But kudos to you, my friend.
I was waiting for it.
I had to do it.
They got 5 points now.
Yeah, 2-2-1, right?
Yeah. Well, so we'll have to see how they do against the Predators. They have the Predators coming up, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a boring series. We're going to have to drink some Red Bulls before we watch that series. So,
yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes. I'm just really excited. Hockey's back, man. It's really great
it's awesome.
It's really great to say like, oh man, the Hawks are on. And put the game on. My family, we sit around and we watch the games, man, and it's something that I did as a kid, and it's really cool to have my kid, watch the games too.
It is. My oldest son, I have a notebook, and I, like a nerd, I write down what I notice, and he'll turn around and say, "Dad, did you notice that good hit?" I'm like, "Yeah, I wrote it down." But it's nice to see he's learning, and
Yeah.
he's learning names, and he's like, "Oh, that was a sick hit." And he's talking like a
Yeah.
hockey player, and and it's good. It's fun.
Yeah. What's really funny is me and my little guy, we play NHL. So we created players, I'm like, look, it's you, and he loves it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll play center, and you're going to play left wing. He's like, okay. And I taught him how to play the position, where he goes in the offensive zone and the defensive zone.
Yep.
If the right wing comes over, you take over on the right wing, stuff like that.
Yep.
And
Grab your man. Grab your
yeah,
point man. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. That's cool.
And he does it. He goes, I think he was a little out of position. I was like, yeah, he
The
was.
computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, in the game. He was
Yeah.
like, I think he was out of position. That's why that they were able to get that 2-on-1. I was like, very good,
Good. He's a student of the game. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. But
Well,
anyways, man.
there's one thing I wanted to ask you. Your favorite Hawk Detroit rivalry moments. 2.
Hold on.
Since
Oh, okay. My favorite is watching the Hawks beat the Red Wings in the to go on to the Stanley Cup.
13.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
That was in the semifinals, right? That wasn't the Western Conference
No,
Finals, was it?
no, I think yes. 13 was the last year Detroit was in the West.
Right.
And I think that was the game Seabrook buried him in overtime, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Because that's one of mine.
yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That and let me see. I don't really have another one, man, because the Red
What
Wings
about
always
as a
beat up on
kid?
the Hawks. The Red
Yeah.
Wings always beat up on the Hawks, man. I enjoyed watching Sergei Fedorov play, man. Whenever he was so great, man, that on offense and defense. I'll be honest with you, I think that he's a better player than Ovechkin is.
Well, do you know later in his career, he went to, I think he was traded to Washington,
He played
one of his
defense for
last
them.
teams. He played D, yeah, and
Yeah,
actually in Columbus he played D as well, and
right.
he was solid.
He was
But
excellent.
my
Yeah.
other my
Uh,
other favorite moment actually involves your boy Fedorov.
mm.
It's when this guy behind me made probably the greatest glove save you'll ever see, where Fedorov had an open net one timer, full net. Belfour extends the arm and just in the glove, and
Yeah.
that was prop. And Savard turned the puck over. If you watch the video, look it up. It's called the greatest glove save you'll ever see. Savard is hacking the guy, passing it to Fedorov, and Belfour on his butt extends the glove. That was probably one of my favorite Hawks Detroit moments.
Yeah, man.
Just because Fedorov looked to the heavens and was,
Couldn't
what
believe it.
the heck? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Ah, man, talk about two great players. I mean, they're literally two of the best of all time, without a doubt.
Yeah. You're talking about the Eagle, right?
Oh yeah, I'm talking about
Eddie.
Eddie and Fedorov, man.
Eddie was the reason why I wanted to be a goalie.
Oh
I
really?
wanted to wear number 30. When Belfour went to Dallas, he changed to number 20. I had to change to number 20. And I went to the same camp. Well, his goalie coach was Vladislav Tretiak,
Mm-hmm.
the greatest goalie probably in the history of hockey. And he
Mm-hmm.
never played a game in the NHL. But I
Mm-hmm.
went to his camp. He was raving about Eddie, how great of a student he was, and I just love the guy. My first game was a Western Conference final in the '90s against Detroit.
Mm.
The dude stopped like 60 shots, triple overtime. I think he lost actually. I was so disappointed, and I was just like, God, this guy is a beast. The
Yeah.
Hawks were down 5-on-3 a couple times, and he's stopping everything. And
Yeah.
I was happy to see him get a Stanley Cup with Dallas because
Yeah, I was too.
a lot of people don't give him the praise they gave Hasek that series, but Belfour was just as amazing that
Yeah, he
series.
was. He
So
was. They both were, man. They were both amazing.
yeah, they were former Blackhawks too.
Yeah,
We
they
had them
were.
at one time.
Yeah, can you
Yep.
imagine that?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, cool, man. That's all that we've got today. You got anything else?
No, I'm looking forward to the next series with Nashville and looking forward to do this again.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everybody, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit a like, get a conversation started in the comments, and we'll get back to you. But this is Mike and Matt. We're out.